It's time now for Countywide, a special presentation of Yavapai Broadcasting News. Join Paul David and Kyle Benedict as they talk with our community's leaders, newsmakers, and people in the know. You'll hear about the hot topics that affect all our lives in Yavapai County. And now here's today's Countywide.
Welcome to Countywide. I'm Paul David. As always, it is great to have you in studio with us today. Deputy Police Chief Amy Bonney in studio.
Hi.
Welcome back.
Thank you. It's good to be back.
You were not a Deputy Police Chief last time you were here.
I was not. I think I was a lieutenant.
You've been promoted.
I have been.
What's that like?
It's a different day every day.
Yeah?
I'm learning a lot every day and just learning my new role, and I'm enjoying it.
What is your new role? What is the Deputy Police Chief's role?
Well, so the way our department is broken up, we've got two bureaus. We've got an operations bureau and a support bureau, and each of those bureaus has a lieutenant. And so on our org chart, I oversee all of those things and report directly to the chief of police.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a big job.
It's a big job.
Now, do you get to go out anymore and traffic stops and...
Every now and then.
Yeah? You still do that?
Yeah, I have to, remember how to work the radio, but yeah, I go out, and I was just the other day driving around, and I did a check welfare, and so I try to get out as much as I can. It's certainly not as much as I'd like to or as much as I used to, but yeah, I get out every now and then.
You know G.R. Manera from DPS?
I do.
He was bumped up to captain.
Yes.
And so he does that too. I know he talks about how he misses that as well. So he likes to go out every now and again and just go out there and look for the speeders and stuff and get back out in the field every now and again. So I can imagine you would miss that sort of thing.
I do. It's one of the things we don't talk about a lot is how fun the job is.
Right.
We get lost sometimes in the day-to-day of it, but it's a great job and it's a fun job, and all of us, no matter what we do, right now in the department or what we have done in the past, it's always fun to get back to those roots and remember what it's all about.
Well, you guys have always been very open with us. And when we have questions for you for news stories, you've always been very open with us. So I've always enjoyed working with the Prescott Police Department.
Good.
Now, you're here today because recently, I don't know how while back, but you can tell us that, but you went off to an FBI National, I got to read this because it's pretty lengthy, FBI National Academy Associates Youth Leadership Program.
Yes.
And we did a little story with you when that happened, prior to you going.
Yeah.
And then I got to thinking it'd be kind of interesting to have you come in and talk about that. So what is that? What is the FBI National Academy Associates Youth Leadership Program?
All right, so I'll break it down. So the National Academy Associates is a group of graduates of the FBI National Academy program. And so 4 times a year, the FBI runs an academy, and it's a management and leadership academy for law enforcement executives from around the world.
Okay.
And so when you attend that, after you graduate from that, which I did in 2014, you become part of the association.
Okay.
And so the association afterwards is just really a way for us to connect as graduates and to maintain those ties that we had while we were there. And it really is an effective way for us in the profession to be able to reach out across state lines and across sometimes nations to effectively police and really get to the heart of what the problems are. And so basically, if I have a problem that ties back to, let's say, Poland, I have a friend in Poland now, and I can pick up the phone and say, hey, how can you help me with this?
Oh, okay. So you've got a contact there.
I've got contacts everywhere, basically. And so the association afterwards, after graduation, we're really looking for some way to continue to give back to our communities and give back to the kids. And so about 18 years ago, they developed this youth leadership program. And so what this is once a year, we go back to Quantico and we choose kids, usually it's one from every state, to attend this youth leadership program. And it's a week-long intensive leadership program for kids who are exceptional in a lot of different areas. And so they apply and are chosen, like I said, just one per state, one per chapter, and they get this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to go back and do some training.
So what's it like to go to Quantico?
It's
FBI headquarters.
Amazing.
Yeah. So what's it like there?
Amazing.
What's the feel when you get there and all that?
Well, so everybody says, is it like on TV? It's not at all.
Yeah,
at all.
It never is. It never is. I'm so disappointed by that too, because all my shows are ruined.
Yeah, I know. When I watch them now, I'm like, yeah, that's not the same.
Yeah, it's not.
The FBI is an extremely professional organization, and really what they've done over the past several years is focus on bringing people together from all walks of life and from all disciplines to really attack the problems that we're having as communities and as a nation. And so their training has really focused on not just agent training. And so Quantico, at the facility there that's at the Marine Base Quantico where they train, they have new agents that are training there, but they also have their analysts that are training. They bring in, their admin support and their IT support, and they all train side by side because really that's going to be the team that's going forth to combat these problems that we're facing. So you're integrated there. When you attend training there, you are part of that team. You sleep there, you eat there, you train there, and it's in the middle of a Marine base, so it's fairly isolated. There are towns outside of it, but I mean, you go through all the Marine security to get to the base, and so pretty much once you're at that facility, that's where you stay.
So they don't leave at night?
No.
They don't leave at night and go home, or?
No.
They're there to...
The agents and the analysts are there, and when I did my training with the National Academy, we stayed there in the dorms. And
the families live there? Their families live there as well?
No. So there are some people,
wow.
The trainers live around in there's a little town called Stafford, Virginia, that's right outside there. So most of them live, in that little town, in that city. But that's about 5 to 6 miles to get, where Quantico actually is, to where the base or the training actually is.
Do they tour you around there and show you everything, or?
Yeah, when I was training there, I had an opportunity to see most things. There's a big lab there, so their crime lab and their so if you send blood samples or hair or carpet fibers, that's where they analyze all of those. The DEA also has a training facility there, so I've been to the DEA training facility. Their IT section and their cyber division does some training there.
Gosh, that's got to be a big one too, right there. I would think, because that's such a huge thing now.
Yeah, definitely.
That's changed a lot.
Their hostage rescue, their emergency rescue team trains out of there. So that's a very elite team that trains there, and so there's helicopters flying all the time. Their firearms training unit is there, so there's a lot that's going on, and it's kind of like this little micro city within this Marine base, which is huge. And the Marines obviously train there. Marine One is housed on the other side of the base, so the President's helicopter squadron is based in that area as well.
Now you and your husband's Brandon Bonney, he was lieutenant over at Prescott Valley PD before he retired. You guys were both negotiators.
Yeah.
So if I was in my house and I said I am not coming out, and I lived over there, either one of you would come over and talk to me. Did you go through training for that through the FBI, or is that through something different?
No, actually, yes, I did years ago. I was a negotiator on our SWAT team for about 10 years, and the basic negotiation school is hosted by the FBI. I did that down in Phoenix, and then just did some continuing training throughout the years just to maintain those skills. But
things you do and don't say, and
absolutely,
yeah. So.
And I always said the wrong thing.
No, you didn't. No,
well, but negotiations is just forming a relationship with somebody who's having a really bad day.
Right.
And oftentimes they just need to vent. They just need somebody to listen to. And, if I felt like I said the wrong thing, I would just, hey, I'm sorry I said that. That's not what I intended to say. And most people really appreciated that. That just forming that relationship and getting people to talk and figure out how you can resolve the situation together.
Trust would be a huge...
Absolutely.
Trust, yeah. We got to take our first break already.
All right.
Deputy Police Chief for Prescott, Amy Bonney in studio today. I'm Paul David. This is Countywide. We'll be back in just a couple minutes.
Everybody has a dream. Mine was to see the ocean. And with a little help, I made it.
Get strawberries? Okay.
Wow, these are really good.
You act surprised. Practice makes perfect.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who don't need perfection. They need you.
Welcome back to Countywide. Prescott Deputy Police Chief Amy Body in studio today. It's great to have you along. We're talking about, well, we've been talking about a little bit of everything. Yeah. But Quantico is our main goal, and the other main goal was the FBI, I'm going to say this one more time, FBI National Academy Associates Youth Leadership Program.
Yes.
So you mentioned that at least one kid per state. So, I mean, that's how do you pick one kid from each state? And they've obviously have to have some talents. So tell me about the kids that are showing up for this, the youth, and how old are they?
Well, so these kids, the really great thing about this program is a lot of, well, I don't want to say a lot, but some leadership camps that are, specifically affiliated with law enforcement are for kids that are a little bit more challenged. The kids with this program are kids that are showing leadership potential and a genuine interest in serving their communities. And so each state, each chapter chooses the child that they're gonna send because it's paid for by the chapter. So the kids.
The FBI in each state?
The FBI National Academy Associates in each state has their own chapter.
Okay.
And sometimes there's 2 per state depending on how big the state is.
Gotcha.
But each chapter sends a kid, and they the process is a little bit different for each chapter, but generally they will put out a call for applications. The kids will fill out the applications. There's an essay that they need to write on why they think that they're a good candidate for the program, what they plan to do with the information and training once they get it, and how they're going to apply it, in their schools or in their communities.
Okay.
And so they submit these applications. The state chapters go through, select the kids. Oftentimes there's an interview. So that's part of growing as an adult and also as a leader is learning how to interview and how to, speak to people that you might not know. So they go through an interview, and then the child gets selected, and these kids are 14 to 17.
Oh, wow, okay, so 14. Wow.
14 years old, and they get on a plane and go, in our state, across the country. There were several students there, a couple from Canada, one from Puerto Rico, one from Poland. Came, and the kid from Poland was 15 years old. His name was Sebastian.
Wow.
And so he flew, around the globe to come experience this. And so these kids are, and they're asked to do some homework ahead of time. They get a book assignment that they're supposed to read ahead of time so that we can talk about that and how they're going to apply those principles in their day-to-day lives. And a
lot of responsibility in order to even get there.
Yes.
A lot of initiative on the kids' part to able just to be interviewed for the whole thing.
Absolutely, and the kids, we look for a high GPA, so they have to be academically sound as well as socially sound.
I would have never qualified for this.
Me either, believe me, especially in high school.
You've been there, I haven't.
But it's a good opportunity for them.
Yeah.
And the training that we provide them, throughout the course of the week, they're there for about 8 days, really is once in a lifetime. So each counselor, there was 9 counselors from around the country.
And they're there for a week?
They're there for a week.
A week, 7 days?
Yes.
Okay, and now let me ask you this real quick. Are they on property the whole time, or do they go off and see some of the other interesting sites so close by?
We take them on several field trips.
Okay,
we took them to see the emergency response team, their hostage rescue team, and they did a demonstration where they rappelled from helicopters. And
oh, no kidding.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. We took them to the firearms training unit there, where they saw the different types of weapons that the FBI uses across the country and why specifically there. And then our big field trip that we took them on was we load them up into a bus, and Quantico itself is about an hour outside of D.C., but we take them into D.C. for a full day and really show them the sites. And this year was the first year that they took the kids to the Holocaust Museum. And so we had 60 kids that we toured through the Holocaust Museum, and that was actually the block of instruction that I taught was, what lessons can we learn about that? And as a youth, how can you focus on that terrible time in our history to make sure that doesn't happen again? And that was very impactful to them. So we took them to the monuments, did them all, took them to the Holocaust Museum, and then we ended that afternoon with the Marine at the Iwo Jima Memorial.
Wow,
The
okay.
Marine Sunset Parade, where they got to see the silent drill team and got to hear the Marine Marching Band, and really just an amazing day. Arlington, and all those things that you think of when you think of Washington, D.C., but we put it in some context for them. And one of the things I asked my group to do was to take a picture of the names on the memorial, specifically the Vietnam War Memorial. Take a picture. You probably don't know who this person is, but go back and do some research. And that's what they did, and they found out some personal facts about the soldiers that are actually listed on that memorial, and really helped to drive it home that they're not just names, it's not just a pretty place to visit. There's a reason why we have those memorials, and there's a reason why it's important for us as a country to instill in our youth the importance of what has happened throughout our history.
Right.
And
yeah.
you know, in
Very
today's day and age, there's, you know, we have information at our fingertips, and we tend to see people, you know, engaged in their cell phones more often than not. And there are faces and names and stories that go with each of those memorials, and it's important, as important to us today as it was 100, 200 years ago. So.
Did you find the kids very engaged with what was going on each day?
Absolutely, they were. They drank it all up and loved every second of it. And, you know, it was very interesting. One of the girls in my group, each counselor was assigned a group of kids to sort of mentor. And one of the girls in my group was from Australia. And hearing her perspective about all of these things that she was seeing was really, really interesting. And she wanted to know more about it because it wasn't always their history. From a different country, it was more our history, but yet they still have their same the same issues that they fought, you know, throughout the courses as well. And so they really were able to put it in context, and I think it did hit home with them, and I think they really valued their time there with their peers as well as with their counselors.
Now, how were you invited back, and why? What was your role there? I mean, you mentioned a little bit of it there, but
so last year, probably about this time, the national organization of the National Academy Associates, it's a lot to say, they put out a call for counselors. And so there are 9 counselors from around the country that are chosen to serve as mentors at this program. And so when the opportunity came up, my chief at the time said, "Hey, I think you'd be really good for this, and we would be happy to, you know, support you in this effort." And so I applied for it, really not thinking that I stood a chance, because 9 people out of however many, and actually was chosen, and I am so proud to represent our state. We have a great state chapter here, and tons of support from them, and it was very cool to be able to go there and represent our state again. Yeah, what an opportunity.
Right.
And what a blessing it really was to me. You know, I really cherish the time that I spent back there, and I love visiting DC, and I love being in Quantico and having that opportunity, and then bringing it back here, because that's what it's about. It's about you know, not only soaking up those things, but bringing them back and helping my department and my community with what I've learned, and hopefully I've been able to do that, and will continue to be able to do that.
That's really cool, really cool. Okay, Prescott Deputy Police Chief Amy Bonney in studio today. I'm Paul David. This is Countywide. We're going to take a quick 2-minute break, and we'll be right back.
There's a shelter pet who wants to meet you. Meet one today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org. Adopt.
They said I couldn't dream. Called me a piece of trash and swore that's all I'd ever be. Said a bottle couldn't see the ocean. Give up. Go back to the dumpster. But I didn't listen. I made my way. what I've always wanted to be.
Well, Thomas, you've got prediabetes. But with more exercise and a change in diet, it can be reversed.
I've tried exercising. It just makes me hungry for bacon.
I love bacon, too. And who really likes to exercise?
Not me.
Me neither.
Nobody. So we're good?
What? Oh, you still have prediabetes. Big time.
Welcome back to Countywide. Just a couple minutes left in the program. Deputy Police Chief Amy Bonney from Prescott PD in studio with us today. The highlight of your week. What was the highlight of the week for you?
Well,
probably a couple. I'm
there was a few, and I'll
Yeah.
tell you, just being around kids, young people that were engaged and so driven, really to make a difference. And we talk about that all the time. It's like, what are you going to do to make a difference in the world? And sometimes it's just, lip service, but these kids really are. These are the kids that are going to make our world better. They're going to bail us out of whatever we're creating now.
Right.
That was very cool, but I'll tell you, the first time, this was my first year doing this, and this program has been in existence for 18 years, and for the first time in 18 years, the FBI director actually stopped by and addressed the group. So we had an opportunity to meet FBI Director Comey, who is an extremely tall man. But when I say tall, he's 6'7", 6'8", so extremely tall man, but one of the kindest, most professional, down-to-earth people that I've ever had the opportunity to meet. And so he really came and talked to those kids. I mean, from somebody in that position who travels around with bodyguards and security all the time and has such an important, critical job, he came and talked to those kids about how important it is for them to be there and how much he appreciated them being there. And that really struck home for them, and they just
It should, right? It should
loved
leave
the
really an
chance.
impression on them.
It did.
Yeah.
It really did, and they were just pleased that he took the time to come talk to them and really encourage them in what they were doing in terms of leadership and servants.
We have a minute left, and Ryan had a question for us as well. Okay, we've got this training right now. Are you familiar with the Explorer program?
Yes.
Okay, now is the Explorer program kind of feed into this or off of this, or?
It certainly can, and
Okay.
actually I started out as an explorer with
Okay.
Prescott PD.
Where young people learn.
Yes, and so that's certainly how we hope that things go. Is that in order to be selected to attend this program in Quantico, there has to be an FBI National Academy graduate to sponsor them, and that's really what our hope is. Going forward, is that we have a child from Prescott. Through Prescott PD, actually, who we sponsor to attend this program and have this opportunity.
Okay, so they're kind of hand in hand.
Yes.
Then. Okay.
Yeah.
We're out of time.
That went fast.
Well, that was great. I'm so glad you came down and told us about this, because it's always interesting. It
Yeah.
really is. I've had, I think, Ken Morley, who's retired from Prescott PD, down here to do this. Andy Reinhardt was down here and did it as well from Prescott PD. So
Yeah.
it's always interesting to hear what it's like to go to Quantico and see it. Now we know it's just completely different from what we see in the movies and TVs.
Not at all like you see on TV.
Oh, spoiled again. Thank
Thanks,
you
Paul.
so much. All right, that is today's Countywide. Thank you so much for watching and listening, and we will talk to you again next time.